Well, friends, if you weren't happy about being in church before, you got to be now. So, as we move into February, any of you that have been out doing your grocery shopping or popped into a store these days, you're starting to see a lot of Valentine hearts displayed in all the stores. Seeing and hearing of those numerous advertisements suggesting just the absolute perfect gift for your beloved that proves beyond a doubt the extent of your love for and devotion for your beloved. It all comes down to dollars, right? But the Toronto Zoo has gone in a completely opposite direction for one of their fundraisers this year for Valentine's Day. They are offering an opportunity to show an ex-beloved the extent of your ex-connection. For a mere $25, folks, you can name one of the cockroaches at the zoo after your ex. And for $25, you get a certificate that says that, and a tax receipt as well. But so very, very tongue-in-cheek, but a brilliant fundraiser, and I guess that's an area of environmental research that isn't as popular as penguins and polar bears, but and we know that despite cockroaches are really kind of important to the food cycle, either themselves or decomposing. I understand the environmental sustainability, but however, I just really, really don't want to see any cockroaches where I live or where I work. But, so I was thinking about that, and as much as it made me giggle, and, a few names popped into my head, I can't imagine being the kind of person that would make other people want to name a cockroach after you. Like, seriously, that's a pretty low bar of humanity, right? But for us who call ourselves Christians, the bar that Jesus has set for us is really high. We are called to be salt and light to the world. Let us pray. Gracious God, bless us in our time of reflection. Speak to us the words that we need to hear, and encourage us to live those words. Amen. We are at part 2 of our Sermon on the Mount, and I'm happy to take these weeks to look at the Gospel of Matthew in a more or less chronological order. And last week we started talking about the Sermon on the Mount, and we talked about those litany of those who are blessed, and that in Jesus' teaching, those who are blessed may be different than those we might have expected. And in today's passage that we read, it's kind of a transition piece that we have before we move from the Beatitudes to 3 following sections that make up the ethical part of the sermon, as it's called. And in this transition piece, we are given these wonderful affirmations that you are the salt of the earth. You are the light of the world. Light to illuminate, light to guide the way, light to welcome. Yesterday morning, I watched the sun come up, and it wasn't, I watch it most days. It wasn't quite as spectacular today, but yesterday, man, oh man, it was gorgeous. It started out pink, and then gold kind of joined the color, and it glinted off of my neighbor's rooftops, and then that pink gold kind of turned to golden, and then finally into the light of the new day. And I felt that somehow nature had welcomed me into this new day and encouraged me to make the best of it. And we are lights to welcome our brothers and our sisters to a life of, or a gospel living life. and encouraging them to make the best of the grace that God has given. Salt of the earth and light of the world. Wonderful affirmations, but also come with a challenge. We are salt of the earth, but be careful of not losing your saltiness. We are the light of the world, but have the courage not to hide that light under a basket or under a bushel. I mean, we talk about Christians, we are supposed to be the salt of the earth. And we tend to use that term. We call somebody that, good old Joe, he's the salt of the earth. When we say that, we mean someone who is good and honorable and trustworthy, just salt of the earth folk. Now, and I'm going to say this just because somebody always brings this up. Common salt is comprised of a very stable, simple chemical compound, sodium chloride, and that's what has the salty flavor. So Christians, we are to bring flavor to the world around us that might otherwise be tasteless and bland. And we know that salt it's a preservative, so we preserve a covenantal understanding of God. And it can stimulate thirst, and we are to stimulate thirst for truth and justice. Enough of the salt kind of metaphors. Too much salt's bad for you. But what happens when we lose our saltiness? Now, chemically speaking, sodium chloride doesn't lose its saltiness, unlike rock salt, is water soluble. And I add that because someone always comes up after we preach on this and tells me, did you think of rock salt? So I'm just throwing that in. So salt doesn't lose its saltiness, but a person can lose their taste for salt. And that's more to the point of what we're talking about today. Because sometimes we go through phases in our lives where we no longer enjoy those pieces that used to be life-giving for us. Now, hopefully it's just a phase, but really, there are those pieces of our joy that we never regain again. So there's no change in the taste of the salt, but there is a change in how we experience it. And I think that is how Christians lose their saltiness. For whatever reason, we no longer enjoy or experience our experience of God or our experience of church community. And that we are, in this passage, to guard against that. Now, we used to use the word sanctification a lot in the church. And there are a multitude of ecclesial words that we kind of fallen out of use within the mainline denominations. And that's happened for a number of reasons, really. I think in some ways it was an attempt to kind of dumb down preaching to not make folks feel uncomfortable. The thing is, when we have a word like sanctification, it's good to just use that word and not just, here's a word that's kind of like it. So sanctification is about maturing in our faith. It's to grow in our faith. It's to grow up in our faith. And as I have said before, that I hope as your minister, you will always find me affirming and supportive of you. However, if all I ever do is come in on a Sunday morning and affirm you just the way you are and never challenge you to grow and mature deeper in your faith, then I think what happens is we would quickly lose our saltiness as a community of faith. And we don't want to do that. If there is never an invitation to think deeper about our understanding of God, our understanding how we live as Christians, our understanding of justice and discipleship, then we start to lose our saltiness. A healthy community grows and matures over time. And sometimes it is a gentle growth, and sometimes we experience very acute growing pains in the midst of it. And guiding you through those pieces is part of my job as your minister. Stay away from the dangers of sin, stay on the path of love and mercy and justice. Be the salt of the earth. The second thing that Jesus affirms we are in this part of the sermon is that we are the light of the world, which is really neat because there are other places where Jesus is called the light of the world. But here, he includes us in the definition. We too are called to bring light, even though our light is just a reflection of his light. The metaphor of light is an easier one to understand. Light enables us to see things. It's energy, it's heat, it intensifies colors. Once we have light, we can more clearly see God's love and justice at work in the world and in our lives. And we are encouraged to be that light for others as well. Again, however, there's this challenge to not take our light that we've been all given as followers of Jesus Christ and to hide it away. Because the world needs to see that light. And if we pay attention to the reading, we'll see that the verb tense in this passage is in the present tense. We are. That present tense is something that we have to remind ourselves of sometimes, from time to time. That Jesus did not say that once upon a time, back in the 1960s when the United Church was building big churches and expanding with the baby boom, and any minister in the United Church, my age and younger, has always heard about how, there was 7,000 kids in Sunday school every Sunday and yada, yada, yada. All happens before you came, kind of. That's not when Jesus said you're the light of the world. They were the light of the world then, but we are also the light of the world now. And Jesus did not say you will be the light of the world as soon as you expand your building or increase your choir to 50 members. And I'm not saying that won't happen. But until then, folks, we are the light of the world. We are the light of the world in Stevensville in 2023. And we can't be hiding that light under a basket. We need to shine Jesus' love all over Greater Fort Erie. Because as a Christian community, our lives are not divided between, this is our Christian stuff and this is our everyday stuff. Christianity is our everyday stuff. It is who we are, not what we do. And Jesus said that he didn't come to abolish everything that went before. He came to refine it and define it and be the fulfillment of all that went before. So that we can share with one another that God is good all the time. That God is good when we are seeking to deepen that spiritual knowledge. That God is good when we enjoy each other's company and community fun, when we're out having coffee together, when we're playing games together down at the Embrace Center, when we're holding on to each other and we're praying. God is good when we are in the company of each other. God is good all of the time. And as Christians, our lives are meant to reflect God's goodness in all aspects of our life. Now, I said I'm going to be away for 10 days, so I'm going to come back to this in a couple weeks' time. But for now, I want to encourage you to let your lights shine beyond these sanctuary doors, to take it into the world, to light the way and be a source of not just light but warmth to your friends and your families and those you meet on the street. And through all of it, we can say thanks be to God. Amen.